Now, last time I suggested, because of the ring composition, that in verses 6 and 7, and those are the only verses in this poem that I see need a little adjustment because of ring composition. I suggested that in 32:6, the last line read something like Yaisham chit wahishta irichtem tu woista manangha. Um, and I further suggest now that the last line of 32:7 be Hata Marne, spelled Marane, Ahura Tuem Mazda, Waidishto Ahi. So I'm just trying to remember. What I did. Caleb, do you remember what 32:6, what I suggested 32:6 read? I'm just a little concerned about where to put the Hata Marne line.
Okay, so what you did is the first pad of the second line in six that starts with Hatamarne,
Mhm.
that got changed to Yaishom cheat
Okay, so the
to Irichtom.
Yaisham, so that Yaisham, etc. That's the B line. Uh,
Yes,
Yais
and the Hatamarne is in the B line of seven.
7B. Okay.
Yes.
Hey, Marty,
I think it's actually. I'm sorry.
can you just read what you want the text of 32:6
Yeah.
be to be?
Um, so in the uh, in the B line, Yaisham chit wahishta richtem tu woista manangha. And in the 32:7, the last line, the C line, would read Hata marne ahura tuem Mazda waidishto ahi. Um, so apart from the moving those two lines around, I'm suggesting that we read that Hata marne with a schwa after the R. That is then evocative of Hata marni, where ni is directly added to the root mar. So there are good Vedic parallels to that. Ani stem based directly on the root. And I suggest that here because that is what we find in the first yasht as an epithet of Mazdahura, alongside various epithets that are drawn from the Gathas. So that preserves what the original text here was, and that an error crept in the transmission here. So Hata Marni. So then of those 32.7, so are there any questions?
Okay, just
32.7.
just one more time. So
Sure.
32.6b is Yaisham Chit Vahishta,
Yes.
and then the second half is
Irichtem
Irichtem
tu
tu Voishta Manangha.
voista
Voishta. Yeah,
manangha.
right.
And
Okay.
of course we scan irichtem as two syllables, richtem.
Hmm.
And
And
that
then
that is because you get a nice complete ring composition, perfect ring composition, if you take account of 32.11, the word Reichnangho, from Reichnach, and H stem meaning inheritance. So two formations from the root Rik or Reich, or if you wish, Rich or Reich, meaning to leave. As in Latin, what, relinquo and so forth. It's interesting that that root lake, Lei, qua, has both to do with things, both to do with leaving and things running and flowing, as it were. So,
Wait, isn't that Wulequa?
no, I don't think so.
What with the running and flowing, is that like is that the root of
I could be wrong.
Latin liquor?
The liquid word, there's a word there?
Does it begin with a what, Michael?
well, that's alleged. There's Old Irish fluch wet. But I think Martin Kummel has an
Yeah.
article where I think he disputes that and prefers to drive them both from lake
Okay.
as Marty is doing.
Well,
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. I mean,
Anyway, sorry.
I'm just thinking of Persian Richtan and Gorichtan, Pachelvi, Rechtan, Gorechtan. The semantics of are. Would you have anything to say about those words, Bill? Rechtan and Gorechtan.
Not offhand. They
Yeah,
seem to me
Rechtan can mean
to flow, and
huh?
generally meaning to flow.
Yeah, that's
But
why.
I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah, so Richtan to flow, Gorichtan to flee, meaning run away. So,
And then the president is president. Yeah, the president is Reyes. So I don't know where that how you get down to Reyes.
oh, well, Middle Persian and New Persian, um, post-vocalic, the Old Iranian post-vocalic ch becomes, in simple environments, z in Middle Persian and New Persian.
Mhm.
And the recht would be built on an old richt with the vowel of the present stem being substituted for the vowel of the past stem. I think it is gorecht and not goricht. Goricht. It's hard to say.
Kumel says that the verb meaning to flow is from lake, and that the special meaning to flow is from to leave and then to let go and to flow. That's what he says.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
And then our word reichna, meaning an inheritance, is that which is left over from father to son or whatever. Anyway, so it's because of that word that I make an adjustment in the text, so that we get in the sixth line, Yaisham, of such things thou knowest Waista with Wahumana, with a good mind. Should be probably be Wahishto and not Wahishta. Thou knowest the consequence, what is left over, the result, let's say. Thou knowest the result. Hold on. You could have a vocative here. Thou knowest, O best one, with good mind, what the consequence is. And as for the last line of C, in thy dominion, chthwachmi shathroi, O Mazda, sangha, which can mean declaration as well as praise, because of the context. I'm now changing my mind a little, because I think it's a matter of an eschatological announcement, because of the larger context. I don't necessarily see why praise would fit. And the word sangha does occur in the sense of sentencing, a declaration of a sentence, that sort of thing, as clearly we have in 32.7b, Singhaite. Could be praise. Praise should be distributed. And we decided that is what might call an imperative, third
singular, middle imperative, yeah.
So is it known or distributed? Should be known or should be
Oh, it
distributed?
should be. I think I think it's from we da uh not known.
Okay.
So
Can I ask
they
about
should
this?
be allotted would be
Yeah.
uh, a good translation, I think. Yeah.
Can I ask about the scansion of uh, your restored Pada B, first half of Pada B, or whatever we call these things? Yesham Chit Vahishta.
Okay, so yeah. Let's
So
see.
do we,
I'm a little troubled by my repetition of Wahishta. Uh, no, maybe I shouldn't be. Okay.
so
Yaisha Amchit. So the has to be two
okay,
syllables.
okay.
Yaisha Yaisha Amchit. Um, if it's Wahishta, Wahishta.
Six, seven, eight.
Oh, Richtem. Maybe I should take out. How
Two.
much is that? Maybe I should take out that Wahishta. Maybe I just scribbled that wrongly. Yaisha Amchit. Richtem. That gives us 7, ignoring the word before that. 2 Woista Anangha. Hmm. We want 5 in the seconds, and we want an
9, right?
9.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Thwa.
Well, it can be eight sometimes. I think Bakes has eight here for the meter.
Yeah,
Seven,
if I
eight.
scan down the all the verses, there are a lot of them that are 7 and 8. It's very common.
In the second foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's so? Thwa mi wa mas da shathroi. Okay, that's our 7, and we want 9 now. I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry. Yai sha chit wa ish ta 7. Okay. Rich tem tu woi sta ma nang ha. Yeah, so maybe we get 8 instead of 7 there.
Mhm. Okay. And then how about in the last half of the last line, Aishai Sung Ho Vidam, which is oh, uh, s-
Sorry.
the,
Sorry. The last. I'm sorry. What?
the last half line of
Oh, the last half.
32:6, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 if we do Vida'am.
Uh-huh.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we can now go to 7. So having already introduced the motif of the many Ainor, plural of Aina, we then have Aisham, Ainangham, Naishit, Widwa, Aujoy, Hadroya. Anyone want to talk about that? Translate it?
Um, so, um, if I may, I have a question about this, but I'll translate the first line first. So,
Okay.
Our joy is like I declare Elchomai, right? I
Right.
declare,
Exactly. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Um, that
That's
I know that I am knowledgeable um in none of these outrages.
Yeah,
So and then I declare myself Hadroya, and then like straightly or directly.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Um, like conversant with none of these, or conversant in no way with these, literally of these outrages.
yeah, I think Nightshit Widwa. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any. Uh, I sincerely declare that I don't know. Uh, um,
Well,
that I'm not aware of. Yeah, that I don't know of
okay.
such Ainas.
So how are we translating Stravi?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Haven't gotten there yet. Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask briefly about the morphology of Hadroya. So this is a form that I've, been interested in a while. So it's related to Sanskrit sadhu, and presumably, it's related. I think there is indeed a Sanskrit sadra, right?
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, what is the rest of this material, this oya?
Okay. Uh, I I think if you think of it as the uh, locative of your thematic stem,
Okay,
so you get normally you have the same situation as you have in kshatroi,
okay.
which is locative, yeah,
Hmm.
and um, sometimes in the dative and in the locative, a syllable is added, and I can't say that that has any morphological value. So it amounts to hadroi.
Well, it's kind of reminiscent of what you find in Old Persian in the locative plural. Don't you in Old Persian have in the locative plural?
Yes. Aishva. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you also have it in the singular in Old Persian?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe it's an Iranian thing.
Proto-Iranian thing.
Well, I mean
Well, yeah, yeah, it's way. I think it is.
yeah, I mean not every locative had the adposition
Yeah.
particle
Sorry, it is an ad position. You are correct.
Yeah, so is an
Ah,
adposition. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's like Vedic
yeah,
but it just got associated with the locative more intimately in Iranian.
yeah. I think that's right.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, good. Okay. Uh, in the next line, um, the difficulty is the second word, which is written as joya. Uh,
That looks like a locative, right?
that's, that's a tough one because, I mean, it may not be an accident that you have the joya right after the hadroya. And in recitation, the hadroya may have influenced this word. Now, I think it scans as three. Ya, ja, sing. Yeah. Yeah, to get the seven, one should scan that word, which is transmitted as joya, uh, as three syllables. In this, I follow Insler. Uh, what Insler does is assumes an underlying jiwia, jiwia, uh, that those things which uh, concern living, being alive, uh, and that the jiwia uh, in oral transmission, I would think, under the influence of the hadroya, and I would also add aujoy. So you get aujoy, hadroya, hadroya, ya, joya. That the joya is a kind of, the ya, joya is a kind of echoing of the hadroya. And he translates Julia, the things pertaining to life, as in effect life or death. He says capital offenses, meaning that those offenses for which one can lose one's head, ergo capital. And he gives the parallel of Akkadian din napishti, a judgment which is a matter of life. Then you have to add or death, meaning potentially fatal. And I find that convincing. Bill? Yeah, Bill?
I follow him.
I'm sorry?
I follow Insler on that too.
You follow Insler. Good. Yeah. I don't see any alternatives. The suggestions of I don't know what this guy has here, but I don't think this guy being Uesugi, I don't think Uesugi has anything more convincing than that. Actually, this is one of the good emendations of Insler. Uesugi has irremissible, those which are declared, he says, those which are called irremissible, and he has to he has to assume that there's a missing privative, and I don't know how this should be irremissible. I don't know why Joya should be irremissible. Ruchi, I don't know. But I find Insler's suggestion convincing, and I'm glad you do too, Bill. And I am just wondering if there's any intertextual confirmation of that. I mean, you do have the word geotum in the 12th stanza, and I'd have to look at my chart. I should have, but I don't have it in front of me to see if that theoretical jiwia concatenates with either Jotum in 3212 or there's another one. Or Giateush in 3215. So that seems unlikely, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, don't think it would do it since we're. No, I don't think the ring composition in this case helps, unless I'm missing another form of the word for life here somewhere. 11. How about 11? So 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the end. And I don't know that this would concatenate. Perhaps not. I should have brought that chart with me, but okay, let it go for the time being. I'll see if there are any concatenations, any ring compositional correlations with this theoretical Julia. Would be nice if there are.
So I think Wasuki is comparing agyamna, which he says means imperishable.
Imperishable.
Yeah. So the
Not
sins,
I'm sorry?
I guess the idea is which are called imperishable, the sins which are called imperishable, right?
Yeah. In the translation itself, I didn't look in the index, but
Yeah.
he has irremissible, which is not imperishable. I think that's semantically forced.
Mm.
Imperishable meaning they'll never go away. No, I don't think so. Oh,
And is Sunghaite, is that a third person singular thematic form?
yeah.
So that's a neuter plural verb with a
Oh,
singular.
yeah, neuter plural,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm just thinking that in modern Greek there is a send-up of the neuter plural with a singular verb. It's the only instance of it, and it's used humorously in allusion to ancient Greek. But pesuntapidia, no, pesitapidia, or something like that. I think there
That's the
is
example that the grammarians always give. Tapaidia paidze is what the
pesi, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that's good. So that modern Greek has become a kind of humorous, uh, proverbial uh, allusion uh, to that ancient grammatical rule. Okay, live and learn, or live to learn. Uh, so that you may learn. Okay, so I'm not aware of any. I declare sincerely that I'm not aware of any such uh, um, violations which are declared as capital offenses through which one is heard, passive aorist, through, or one undergoes trial, since the word, that same word can mean to undergo trial, through the huayna ayangha, ayah, metal. I wouldn't identify it as any metal other than, well, just leave it general. Uh, if you tell me it's bronze or copper, I'm not going to argue with you. But some metal, um, which are um, shining or glowing, depending on how you take that. Uh,
Could you discuss the etymology of Chwaina?
one thought has been that it comes from uh, hmm, well, some people have taken it from sweating, whitener. Um, do you remember Bill glowing?
Well,
If there's a
I'm poking
word
around here.
for the heavens, uh, the hard heavens with such an active Hwain.
Yeah, so I think it has to be Indo-European slide to shine. I think that's, I don't
Uh,
have any problem with that.
what, so
So it would originally derive from Huagna, and then with germination was reduced to Huena.
so your root would be Huaid,
Yeah,
Indo-European Suede,
yes.
and and um, well that's not the sweat word. Is there a word to shine like that? I don't recall. Is there a root Suede to shine? Let's see what this guy has.
The root sweat, but I don't know a shine meaning for it.
Yes.
I see other people take it from Huvina, good to
Oh
see.
yes, good to yeah, good to be seen,
Yeah,
good to see. That's it.
yeah.
Huayna. I knew there was a who there, but I couldn't remember what the Aina was. Yeah, Huayna, shining as good to see. Um,
Yeah. But there's also apparently evidence for suede in Picorni meaning to shine.
yeah.
And Picorni indeed takes it from, this root. So,
Yeah, I'm sure that's why I got
but
it because I have that Glenson down here.
yeah. So in Lithuanian there's a svidus, which means blank, glänzend. There's um yeah, I mean it's kind of interesting. There, yeah, I mean, but then again, the Lithuanian wait, yeah, the Lithuanian Swedus has to go back to a Swede, um, so it is kind of interesting. Yeah, there isn't a lot of evidence for this Swede though.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's definitely it's definitely not related to Latin Sidus Sideris. Well, I mean,
Um,
because that's like a
so as a sisters, what is the Cetus word? Star,
well, in
star.
Latin, yeah, it means star, right?
You're
But
right. Yeah. Yeah.
It seems to have meant something like a direction for like, when you look up at the stars, they were used for orientating yourself and directing yourself,
Right. And
right?
Cetus would be what?
Well, I would argue that Cetus is related to Greek ethos, which means direction. Uh,
Oh, I
that
see.
yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
that's yeah, that's I mean that's the question. Like what happens to I mean that yeah, I mean what happens to suede in Latin? Suede becomes sud,
Sud,
right?
yeah. Sudor, yeah.
Yeah, so
You
that's the
mean
thing,
sweat
right?
word, sudor.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's kind of that's why it can't well, that's why it can't be related to this suede, the Cedos. But there it seems to be evidence of a suede. There's this Lithuanian word, svidus, which
There's a
means
Svideti, and Smoczynski takes it from sweat. So he thinks sweat is the original meaning. I mean,
oh, so sweating because
yeah,
what one is
because you
shiny,
gleam. Yeah, you're gleaming, I guess.
right, right. I guess so. Right. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, the verb means to shine, glisten, or glimmer.
You know, there's also a parallel phrase for molten metal, chusτα. Um, and in that metals are sweated in metallurgical terminology. Uh, I wonder if this is from sweated, that would then be a parallel to molten. Uh, the idea in any event is that there is an eschatological judgment, uh, a general eschatological judgment. The whole world undergoes a trial by molten metal. Uh, and then the question is, why should shining metal be a parallel to molten metal? Why should this be an alternative phrase? And sweating metal might refer to precisely the metal becoming liquid.
Mm.
Uh, and then what one may ask, if that is so, I think Shusta, with regard to metal, occurs twice
Mm.
in the Gathas. Uh, so why this variant here? Uh, and if there was already a phrase from metallurgy of sweating metal, meaning liquidified metal, um, then the motivation here could be phonic, a euphony uh, with Aina. Uh, that's not a strong argument, but it's an argument. Uh,
Well, in any case, we're dealing with an ordeal, I think. And
uh,
so you have to
a
ask,
lexical ordeal for sure.
are they pouring molten metal on somebody? Or do somebody have to put his tongue on a shining metal uh, a piece of shining metal as part of an ordeal? It has to be part of an ordeal.
Yeah, there is an ordeal, uh, which is attested certainly in Pahlavi, um, of very hot metal being put on a person's chest.
Yes.
I remember the word wara,
Yeah.
chest.
Aderbad had that done to him, I
Sorry?
think. Aderbad Maharaj Spand, I think, had that
Yes,
done
he
to him.
went through this ordeal
Yeah.
to prove his righteousness. Um, but I think the myth is that there are rivers of molten metal, and you get burned up uh, if you're an evil person, but these waters will be like milk to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So so the ordeal would be, these rivers of molten metal rather than uh, the individual uh, molten metal being placed on one's chest, but the ideas may ultimately be related. Hmm. So, so I would suggest that this is sweated metal, as it were, uh, rather than shiny metal, which really adds very little. I mean, the adjective shiny. Um,
So
and,
is it fair
and
to
I
say?
would say it's a kind of play with the Aina uh, element. So
It, yeah.
so yeah, so you suffer by the sweaty metal if you're guilty of the Aina. Yeah, you were saying, Andrew.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is this basically an innovation of Zarathustra? Is this a contribution from his thought? Like, or did this exist in like the religious system attributable to the Proto-Indo-Iranian community or Iranian community? Like, where does this image come from?
Uh, I I don't know of any precedent for it. So
Yeah.
which just means that I don't know of any, but I don't think there are any precedents for it. He may have invented it. That's that's a question that's very hard to judge. Is there anything elsewhere, Norse or whatnot, such a judgment of fire, Old Norse? I don't know. Ring a bell? Not to me.
Reminds me of what the Parthians did to Crassus at the Battle of Carrhae, right? He had molten metal poured down his throat. So
That's not nice. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm remembering when I was taking Vedic with Pal Team, if you had an etymology, he would say, well, are you willing to put your hand in the fire?
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm. So you, like Insler, studied with Tima. And who was your main man for Old Iranian? I thought it was Dresden.
Dresden, yes.
Yeah.
No, Tima was a visiting professor at Penn when I was there,
Uh-huh.
and that's when I studied with him. Not the Yale connection.
Okay. Um, so okay, so the last line. Um, yeah, someone was asking. No? Okay. So then, Hata Marne, oh, 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 knower, oh, a counter, uh, or, um, accountant of Hata, of things uh, earned, as it were, from the root Han being a sate root, so you get uh, zero grade of N laryngeal as a long and ha ta. I think if you follow the other occurrence, so a counter uh, uh, of of things earned uh, with plural ha ta, internal and accusative within the compound. I mean, it could be hata simply, but I think the parallel has hata. Um, oh, a counter of um, things earned, deserts, as it were. Uh, Ahura, O Lord, thou to him, uh, O Mazda, O comprehending one, if you want to translate Mazda that way, or art, Vaidishto Ahi, art, most knowing. So, Mazda Ahura knows the deserved judgments. Um, that's all I have to say there. Um, anything else?
Can we go back to Hatha?
Hata.
Um, and certainly it's very, very common in Pahlavi manuscripts that you the initial HA is written as with hey and a long ah. So I'm wondering if this is a scribal for Hatta.
I'd like it not to be that. By the way, tell me, there is a T stem. Looks like it's hot, but maybe it's hat, meaning a being. Yeah, you find a genitive plural hatam.
Mhm.
Uh, is that an example?
Yeah, so
So that
the
would be from
Hattam and
Sant.
the Yanghe Hattam
Huh?
is really Hattam.
Yeah, so that's an
Yeah,
example
yeah,
of that.
and so that's why I'm asking about
So
this.
you have that in mind here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. Hatam. Why shouldn't it be Hatam if it's from Indo-European, first laryngeal S syllabic N T, isn't that which is the existent ones?
yeah.
Why the lengthening? Um, yeah, and it could be, yeah. So
So,
as
maybe I'm influenced by Sanskrit Sat, which
Sat,
has
yeah, which
a
is short.
multitude of meanings, but what is
Sat,
true, what's real,
yeah,
so forth.
Sat, yeah, yeah. So I don't think this is an example of that because I think, well, for one thing, I think there's a compositional play in this text, uh, which um, we'll come to of ha, hata, haughty, at least haughty, from the root to bind,
Mhm.
and haughty from the root to earn. Uh, and that may even be um, present here if there's a wordplay uh, on the idea of being bound. Those, you know, you who are aware of um, the binding, as it were, because the root binding does occur later in the text. This root ha or haif, if you want to
Mhm.
call it that, and we can discuss its Indo-European etymology. You see, for example, 32:9. Is that merit, or does that mean the concatenating poem, which is called a Haiti? Uh,
Mhm.
and so I think that the the fact that you have the possibility of high T in 9 as um, merit, at least. Though I think there's a wordplay there with Hati as composition. But I think that is why this word Hata is used in Hata Marni. If it were from Hat meaning a being, how would you translate it then? Hata, Hata. How would you translate it? If you see it?
Let's see. Well, of course, in all my notes here, I just have a note that it picks up on the Hata, the Hatim picks up on the Hata in 6. But that still leaves open what exactly it means.
Well, we're replacing the one at 6, so that's
Yeah,
what we're talking about. I mean, we're just moving it. Yeah, I offhand, I don't see any virtue of that being the word hat meaning being with a short A.
Wouldn't that also be athematic? So we'd have to have some special explanation of the ah here.
I suppose so. I suppose so. But it makes perfect sense to have Ahura Mazda Ahura as someone who makes an accurate assessment, a counting up of what one has earned. So,
So regarding the ah of hot, so the second ah, the hata, what exactly is responsible for that?
if
Like,
it is hata, um, then it would be an internal accusative. So hata marni, the one who knows the neuter plural, hata, the merits, the earnings, deserts. I mean, you do have such compounds with the first member inflected. No.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, shall we move to the next, which is my favorite stanza of all stanzas in the Gathas.
you could write a book on this.
I've already written a very, very long article. Have I shared it with anyone?
I helped you with it, so if that counts.
I'm sorry. Oh, yes, with that one, yeah. It's for a Festschrift. I don't think it matters if I mention for whom it is. For the Shahnameh expert Jalal Khalqi Mutlaq, and Khalqi Mutlaq is now in hospital as of 2 or 3 days ago in something like critical condition. So I hope he gets to see the volume. But there, I in that article, I was curious as to how very the myth through which I translate this, or rather, how I translate 32.8, what it says, that idea is kind of present in Ferdowsi. So it was a long examination, but I can send it to all of you just so you see what I do with this stanza. And Caleb was helpful with an idea of how Ferdowsi may have known the upshot of 32.8. It's not obvious how he would have known it. But anyway, do we have time to start this? No? We okay?
Mhm.
All right. So again, of those violations, Yima. Now, I don't know what to do with this chit. You guys know more about chits than I do. People take this as even Yima, and I wonder whether chit cannot be emphatic. This is something that I'm not very smart at. But let's leave the chit alone, and you can tell me what you think of chit in general. So the simple, just forgetting the chit for a while, is that Yima, okay, you must chit, the S, the old S is preserved by the ch, was heard or underwent trial, underwent a hearing, as it were. Yima, the son of who is the question. In the Videv Dod, Yima is the son of Wiwahwant, genitive Wiwahwato, unless Wiwahwato, I mean, stem is Wiwahwata, unless that is an adjective based on an unstem. It's either genitive or an adjective. But the stem is Wiwahwant, exactly like Sanskrit Vivasvant. This isn't the genitive of Vivasvant. It looks like a perfect participle.
Yeah, that's what I think it has to be.
Norbert,
Because you would get the perfect participle alternating with the stem and blunt, I think.
what?
You could argue that you get the present participle used of this name as a side form of vivasvant or vivachvant.
Yeah,
You
you
mean
do.
that you mean the perfect participle, Bill.
Yeah,
Perfect.
perfect participle.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do get that form in another in a Younger Western passage, which talks about the drauga, the lie, or the lying, the untrue lie, the anhathya, drauga of Yima. And it's interesting that that context is also negative, whereas in the Videv Dot it's neutral. I think that is not insignificant. Norbert Oettinger wrote an article on why you might have the perfect participle alongside the anstem. But I have more to say about this than merely the formal issue. Which
I
is,
mean, is the root vas meaning to shine?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And the question is there a motivation for this form? And I think there is multiple motivation for this um, patronymic or call it patronymic. Uh, if if it's a perfect participle, it would literally mean no, he who has shone, not he who shines. If it's a perfect participle, uh,
Or like
which
fully
might
resplendent,
hmm?
like fully resplendent.
uh, well, I don't think fully. I think formally resplendent.
Okay.
So he has shone, but he's faded. Uh,
Oh, wow.
uh, well,
No, but
it's a possible
doesn't mean, would have to mean shining widely, some concept of
yeah.
that
Well,
sort.
Vivasvan. That is the original
Yeah.
Vivasvan. So let's not worry about the weird. Uh, so you can say he who has he who one has shown widely, but is no
Mm.
longer doing so. Um, One motivation may be the fact that in all other instances where there is an allusion to uh, an inhabitant of the world of wrongness, uh, Zarathustra uh, does something with a name. So in the case of Angra Manu, it's the Manu who is Angra, for example, or the using a different word than Angra, like Akka. Uh, um, in other words, the real name of uh, the entity, the evil entity, uh, is in some way modified. Hauma, in verse 10, and I have no doubt whatever that there's uh, a disguise of the name Hauma in verse 10 here, um, is represented as a wordplay, how ma, because Zarathustra doesn't want to give Hauma straight up. So he disguises it as how plus ma. Uh, what is written as huoma. So
In
perhaps
my
one
notes, I have
motivation,
in my notes, I have a reference that you had done that, but I forgot to put down where you said it. Do you remember what article it was in when the how ma as a figure for Homa?
I've said it in a number of places. I think the older places that I said it in, I think there was uh, a an international Congress volume, the ECIS that took place in Italy. I can send you references to that.
Okay.
I, there's also a little, unfortunately, inaccessible volume of studies in honor of Ilya Gershevich that was edited by Panaino. Uh, um, inaccessible because there weren't many copies printed, and it's rare.
I have a copy of it, and you must have sent it to me.
Of the article.
Yeah,
I mean, the volume is
not
inaccessible.
no, I don't have the whole volume. I just have the
Yeah,
off print of the article.
unless I sent it to you inaccessible. So, but I can give you I can give you the
Oh,
bibliography
okay, I don't want to
of that,
distract
and
from.
I'll send you my article for the Festschrift, and I hope it will not be a Gedenkschrift. Um, on top of everything else, we now have war going on in Iran, and a lot of the contributors to that volume are in Iran, and you can imagine how difficult it now makes the appearance of the volume because there are Iranian contributors. But that's another story. I also think that there is not only Mei Wi Wang Husho, which as I say, may be motivated because Zarathustra doesn't want to give the straight name of Yima, which would be Yima Wiwahwata, but and in addition to my idea that the perfect suggests that the father of Yima, once shown but faded. Remember, he is credited in the Homiasht, which Zarathustra knew, as we'll see, as the first presser of Halma, for which he was rewarded with having Yima as a son. And this text is anti-Halma, so there's some further motivation there. If I'm right, and I may not be right, I also have compared this Wiwanghusha to a Vedic adjective, Pashu Sha, meaning he who has acquired from the root, the sate root son. Second member here, just a root stem, as it were. Sha after the U by the Ruki rule. Pashu Sha, he who has acquired cattle. I've speculated that this may be, therefore, he who has acquired, he who has earned, Wahoo, which is to say that which is not good, that which is other than good, with a we being a kind of privative that we see in the word we jiwa in Younger Western for we jiwa, not alive. So if there is a word play, if Iranian as Vedic could have a compound in second member sha from that root, which in Vedic means to acquire, to win, but in Iranian means to earn, then if wiwahu is that which is not good, he who has acquired, he who has earned that which is not good, namely yima. That's highly speculative, but I would like there to be a link between the that stanza and what would be if you have 16 stanzas. So what would the two central stanzas be? Is it 16 stanzas? So what I can't do sums. What would the two middle ones be? 7 and 8 or 8 and 9? No. Okay, so 1 to 8, and then 9 to 16, right? So 8 and 9 would be the two central stanzas. So So then I would like there to be a compositional link somewhere to 32.9, and I think you have it in the word hearty, which can mean earning. So that is one way that I would justify a possible play on that root han, meaning to earn. So
there are a number of compounds in Young Avestan that end in hun, acquiring such and such.
and those are end stems?
I think so. I'm an
I
old man. I can't remember it the way you can.
I think it's likely that they're end stems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, but I mean, the Vedic shows that you can have, in theory, an endless stem. Now, what the chances are for such maybe an unusual form, having a cognate in Vedic in the first place, and what the chances are for this Viwanghu, meaning that which is not good, taking the two aspects of my interpretation, what the chances are. Well, it's chancy. It's very chancy. And maybe I can live without that hypothesis. But I like that concatenation between 8 and 9. I don't know if there's another one that is obvious. I don't see any. So there has to be one. Of course, you should all yell at me. Hey, what about Srawi? What's wrong with Srawi? Which for which you have Srawa in 32.9. So I say, okay, don't need that sha. They concatenate perfectly well without the sha. So maybe it's just he who once shone but no longer shines. So now we come to the really difficult middle verse. And there are three cruces in this B line. Quite apart from the syntax, just lexically, what is gauche, what is baga, and what is choremno? Now, Humbach, who has during his career translated this verse in several different ways, finally radically different, came up with the interesting idea. I think it was Humbach and not Hoffman, that gauche is an aorist third person aorist of a root Gau, just as you have chsnaush, long nach chsnaush, uh, aorist of the root chsnu, or chsnau if you want to call it that. Uh, in which case, gaush would um, be from that interesting root, which means to lack, or according to me, to fall short of something in terms of spatiality, not to reach the goal. So Yima failed, or you can say sinned in that, hamartia, the not going to a goal, sin in the sense, or the Hebrew word chet with tet and aleph, chet, glottal stop at the end, meaning a sin, from the root which we find in Arabic, khata'a, to miss the mark, or to miss the mark, not go to the goal. And as a matter of fact, I like that etymology of the Hebrew word, because in the Zamakhshari's dictionary of Khwarezmian, meant as his Persian Arabic dictionary was also meant, and he also had a Turkic one, to teach Muslims Arabic. So to teach Khwarezmians Arabic, we have this Khwarezmian dictionary that he wrote. We have the original manuscript of it. It's heck to read if you've ever tried, because of the pointing and the scribbles and whatnot. But there, the Khwarezmian word rawida, from the root raw, he didn't reach the mark, is the equivalent of Arabic akhta'a, did not reach the goal, from that same root. And the Persian version very nicely has gum shod, he went lost, which gives you, for the first time anywhere, the etymology of the Persian word gum, meaning lost. So it's not reaching the goal. Forgive me if I've been through all of this with you before.
Well, if it's all right, what is the extra Iranian comparanda, or set of comparanda for this route? I mean,
Well,
where does it come
maybe
from in
maybe
the
maybe that Howard business, that did we discuss that? I know
Yeah,
I
I mean
was
Latin howd, yeah, meaning
Latin
not by
Howard.
no means.
Latin Howard, and there is something that goes with Howard. Michael, you would know it.
Old Irish gow, falsehood. Yeah. So true.
What goes with Howard?
Old Irish gow,
No,
falsehood.
no, within italic,
Yeah.
within
Well, there's this
Old Latin.
hallowed in
Yes,
yeah,
if
the
if it yeah, if it
forum
goes.
description. Yeah. Yeah.
So Howard meaning, if it, not, so falling short would be okay for that. I'm not sure exactly what form Howard would be. But that is the only clear cognate I know.
So the root is velar Ghau. Gau.
Uh, Velar Velar GH value. Uh,
Well, that's the thing. It seems to
oh,
be,
the Latin would suggest the laryngeal,
well, I mean,
maybe.
it could be a phonemic ah, right? In theory.
in the italic, in the Latin.
Well, I mean, what I'm wondering about is whether the root was an A root as opposed to, EH2 or H2E
So how
W.
would you reconstruct it?
I was just, so what I was wondering about is whether this root actually has a phonemic A as an gal, or whether it should be
In
reconstructed
what language?
in Proto-Indo-European.
Oh, well, that gets us to a question of whether you believe Proto-Indo-European had uh, there is, of course, difference of opinion among that, uh, among Indo-Europeanists. Um, Cheng's dictionary does have this root, and he reconstructs it as uh, VLOGH, uh, which for Iranian is, what he does for the but with a second laryngeal uh, as gao.
So ultimately the root, according to Chung, would be velar GHEH2.
Yes,
W.
according to Chan.
Well, but that's the thing. But
Not
if
much,
that,
he brings in chaos, which is ridiculous.
right, but that's the thing. Like the root shape is monosyllabic in the proto language, so the u would have to be of suffixal origin, right?
Yeah,
No, no,
I
no.
guess.
Would it?
Well, so what I'm wondering about is, okay, so if there's an H2 in the root, it occurs after the actual E, right? So it would be, gahu or gahu, right?
Mm, no.
Yes,
That's what I'm getting at.
which is disyllabic.
Right, it's disyllabic, so
I don't
that's
like it
not a
because it's disyllabic either. I either do not, I myself do not like it. Also, I do not like it. But I don't know. Uh, so if the U is suffixal, then I don't know what you have. You have nothing,
Well, no, then you have a U present, which has been incorporated into the root or something. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you
yeah,
could
I
use
mean
it
that
like that.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying, Michael.
But you don't find it without the U anywhere. It's not.
Oh, we have to look. All right. So
I've looked. I don't think it exists. I mean, look, in good health, but I don't.
yeah.
It's into hate, but I don't.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit like the rejoice root, right? With the plain
Oh
G.
yes.
That looks like it's got a U extension,
Uh-huh.
right?
Oh, well, you mean Gaio, all that?
Yeah, gay Theo and
Yeah,
Gao
yeah,
Gao.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that you is of nominal origin. I
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean,
Okay.
the U
So,
could be suffixal, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, is there, if Howd were the cognate, uh, is there a way around the laryngeal?
Yes, you could have an inherent A in the root. Right.
And you believe in inherent
I mean,
A?
I believe in inherent A. Yeah. I think there's plenty of good cases. Yeah.
No, I have no opinion. I mean, uh, yeah, oh, the only thing I insist on well, the range of semantics of the Iranian root. And then I do think that um, Humbach's original insight, to get back to our word gauche, um, is correct. And um, inter alia, if you look at the next stanza, semantically, the word mourndat,
Sorry, can I just interrupt you, Marty?
yeah, sure.
Actually, if howd is denominative from howo, you could actually get the A secondarily by Turnuysen-Ives law. So
Sorry,
don't
bye.
actually. So you could get the A of how by Turnuysen-Ives law,
Uh-huh.
which would mean that it would be from an O in an unaccented syllable.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
that would eliminate the problem of the A.
Mm.
So what would be the pre-form of
I've
Haud
seen
Latin?
that cited, in fact, that to an Eisen business. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you were saying,
What
Andrew?
would, yeah, what would be the pre-form of Latin Haud?
Well, you would, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what it'd be, but you would have to syncopate. You would have to have a thematic stem, right? And then you would have to add some piece of demorphology. I don't know what that is. And you would have to syncopate out the vowel there. That would be what you could do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So you
there
could
would
from
be
a
a
hot,
vowel.
you could have from a go we do or something like that, go we do. Uh,
Uh,
yeah, that you could do that. Anyway, I don't want to take up
yeah.
too much
But
time, but
anyway, I think that is the only cognate. Uh, uh,
But
so,
but the Irish word, right? So how does the Irish
yeah,
word compare
what is
with
that?
the
Gow? What is the Irish word?
yeah, it's gow, and it could be from gowa. In fact, it's
And the
likely to be
Irish
from
word
gowa. It means
means
falsehood, falsehood.
means falsehood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, um, if your core meaning is uh, falling short, okay, uh,
Sure.
then false would be on the semantic periphery of that. And the old Irish word, I would prefer it not be on the semantically on the periphery of things. After all, you do have a root to bend or to turn, something like that, no? From which it could be derived. False as devious, bending, turning, that is, you know, semantically okay. There is such a root, no? Go.
You may, yeah, like ambiguous, that one. Is that what you're thinking of? Yeah.
Inter alia, yeah. Um, so I don't think that that the Celtic word is a persuasive uh, cognate. Um,
yeah, but the but if it's related to ambiguous, right? Ambiguous, then why do we have a gamma in Greek? Sorry.
Just the Irish and forget the Latin, right? I think that's what Marty's suggesting,
Oh, okay.
right?
Sorry.
yeah. Um, Now, it's interesting that Iranian has a couple of words, several words for this idea of not reaching a goal, falling short of a goal, going past the goal, uh, which in Iranian are fairly well attested. Well, I should say at least one word, and one is so-so. I'll tell you what they are, um, which have very few cognates outside of Iranian. So for whatever reason, Iranian conserves uh, certain words which disappeared elsewhere. I'm thinking of my root dreu, aspirated D-R-E-U, dreu, uh, meaning to, originally I said to go astray, but I think it means to miss the goal. Very strongly attested in Iranian, weakly attested uh, in Indic, and barely attested, if at all, unless, bring in Fraus uh, and Tuaneisen again there. Uh, so this would be a parallel example. The word Morindat in stanza 9 uh, has a uh, non-infixed, non-nasal infixed uh, uh, match in the word Maridati, which you do have in Vedic. Uh, which means to miss the path, go wrong, something like that. And I do believe that there is a good cognate for it in Baltic with an L, Maldit and whatnot, in Latvian anyway, but not strongly attested elsewhere. In the sense of to err, to go wrongly. So, no, it's not unprecedented that you have a word so weak, a verb so weakly preserved, uh, but preserved in the Iranian in that semantic range for whatever reason. So that very word, morindat, which means to move away from the intended direction, to derail, to make go askew, etc., would be semantically a nice parallel for gauche, not to reach the goal. With regard to more than that, one has to acknowledge that it was Charve who came up with the correct translation of Morindat and Maridati. A lot of works ignore, just don't know Charve and his correct solution of Morindat. But yeah, so you have nice root Mard, full grade Maridati, goes and misses the path, and that occurs, I think, in Yasna 51, and nasal infix mrnda, written as morenda, zero grade nasal infix, thematic verb.
Can I ask Martin about so you reconstructed drow, meaning to go astray, and is it true that you connect this with
Sorry, I reconstructed.
a drow, meaning go astray, Dhrew?
Yeah, meaning to miss the mark. Yeah,
And is this related to, Druj and Drauga and all that?
I think so.
Okay.
But that's yeah. I mean, did we discuss this?
Yeah,
Whether
I think so. I'm just asking, just kind of a reminder because, and I mentioned this that there seems to be some evidence of basically a present stem formant in plain GH. So, in Greek, you've got these words, just to mention a few of them. You've got these words smecho, but which means wipe, next to a smocho. You've got a psecho next to a psocho. You've got a trujo next to a truo. You've got a nejo, meaning swim, right? And, so it's like they seem to have been molo presents, i.e., having, ablaut of O and E in the root. And the suffix was GH, and that they took the H2E endings. So anyway, there seems to be evidence of, I'm just trying to kind of develop a theory of how you connect this drow that you reconstruct and the Druj Drauga family, which seems to reflect a secondary
that's
root.
very nice if you can see a pattern there. I mean, I did conclude that the g is a what CCVC. Well, I don't know if you can
Right.
say it's a Bambanisian extension, but some kind of extension. But if there's a pattern there where that g is an extension elsewhere, and you can motivate, if you can find you know, something in common with all these, that would be fine.
Yeah, it seems to be like a present stem format. I don't know if anyone else has that impression, but
Yeah, could be. But now this is a question as to whether the word, uh, that root we see in the word for uh, that very important root stem, uh, which in Vedic is druh, and in Iranian is druj or drug, if you want to call it that. Uh, yeah, and I don't think it means to lie, by the way. I think it means to be wrong, go wrong, not, you know, not be in the right way. The lie is, I think, secondary.
right. So what is the meaning? So it's as you mentioned, like Druhas in Vedic means like demonic forces, right?
Plural. Hmm.
Yeah, Druhas, right? And so I'm wondering like how it gets that meaning, i.e., it's like, does it mean like, you know, I don't know.
I think it means that which makes things go wrong. Um, so
Yeah.
it has a verb, it's like a root stem of a verb to make something go wrong. And um, yeah, uh, semantically, uh, I don't think in Iranian druj is lie because, well, I don't know if I've said this before to the group, but I may have said it to you, but uh, maybe Caleb. There is a demonic force, for example, the druj, which is Nasu, uh, the corpse demon. No one is telling a mistruth there. Uh, the only thing that's lying there is the corpse. The corpse is lying, pun. But there's no falsehood being told. Um, and there are various kinds of druges that are referred to in Young Avestan. Um, you know, you have a formula against different druges in in effect, a magical text, a binding text, where you have bandami, bandami, I bind you, O druj. But before that, you have, kind of generality of all kinds of druges. Uh, so I think druj is
Yeah.
just that which makes things go wrong.
So like it's a wronger.
Yeah,
It's a wronger, right?
yeah,
Or yeah, as in what when you say the nominal verb to wrong someone or something, right? And then
if you
nomen agentis, a wronger, right?
if you wish.
And wrong is related to what? It's related to ring, right? And where does ring come from?
I
Well,
guess it's a
yeah,
twisty
yeah.
word.
But I think that it has that GH that present stem formant. It's from ultimately the root is where, meaning to turn, and that they formed I think a reg from it, which meant like to turn or twist, and that from this neo root they formed a nasal infix present, which was reanalyzed as a root itself, and that gives us English wrong. What do you think of that?
Maybe. I don't know. But what about the word, our English word, lie, German, Lüge, and so forth?
Dugan. Well, isn't that from LU plain GH?
I
Log,
think I think
Lug,
so. I think
right?
so.
Well then, yeah, I don't know.
I- or not. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, no, that's a good point. Where does that come from? I mean, we
Well,
have
it
it, I
could be a
think, in
primary
Germanic.
root. I mean, doesn't have to be an extended root,
Well, that's true.
but it's nice semantically that, you have a rhyme. Hmm? I haven't thought of what the Leo be. I mean, could it ultimately, though I guess again the question of laryngeal is involved, uh, be from the word for left hand, the word Laiwo? There's no, that's Laiwo. That won't work. I take that back. Uh, no, I don't know what Leo. If you have any Leo, that could be extended as Leog. Offhand, I don't know. But all of this is a digression to a digression, yeah? To a digression. And who am I not to like digressions?
So,
But
Martin, going back to 8, in B, what do you make of the first part of it?
Yei Mashang Shichnusho.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I think the whole line means. Yima underwent trial or was heard about, uh, achieved notoriety, yeah. He who uh, wishing now wishing to propitiate uh, our mortals, Mashing Ahmenga, Ahmaken. So that's what I think it is. However, I follow Geshevich's idea that if Yuma has undergone trial, that these words, Mesheng Shichnusha, etc., were a kind of plea that Yuma was making. He says, referring to himself, Yuma who, now you have a kind of quotation, who merely wanted to satisfy, propitiate, gratify is the best word. To gratify for Chichnusha, yes, desiderative, participle, stem desiderative, our people with a God, and that all of this is Yima hu ye Choremno, who swearing, who was swearing that merely wanting to propitiate our anyway, he went astray, swearing that here you have to say he was merely propitiating our people, gratifying our people, baga, with a god, supplying them with a god.
So I have a kind of from left field suggestion, and I don't know if it has any validity or not, but picking up a little bit on Gershevich, I'm wondering if these two parts of the B, both ending in a participle, are actually quotations from perhaps the judgments that were made against or were involved in the whatever the ordeal was that he was subjected to, and that they are in a way quotations of a larger passage which Zarathustra knew and anybody in his community would have known in he talk, I don't know what to use the term, oral literature, um, uh, oral composition that was current, and so it's not a full sentence. It's beginning of an inherited um, larger statement, and it's just giving the first couple of words, and then the Amaka would be similar, another kind of judgment, which would have the words of the maybe the indictment or whatever it was. It reminds me of in Old Persian, is much discussed, Arta Brahmaniya. I think that's a quotation.
Uh-huh.
I don't think you can make sense of it. The people have tried, but I think it's used the sense of I did this.
Artacha Brahmaniya,
Yeah.
which is from
So I'm wondering if this
Artahacha,
is
by the way.
something. This is something
Artacha
like
is from
that.
Artahacha.
Yeah.
That's my only uh, intervention there. Is that the Artacha is from Artahacha. And that's not a trivial uh, suggestion because that arta plus the root hak is very important. But you know why I think it's artacha, why artacha is from artahacha. That is to say, from artat hacha,
Mhm.
because of the Elamite. The
Uh-huh.
Elamite transcription of that passage is irdachazi. So irdachazi. Uh, so artahacha originally, and
Mhm.
the aha is contracted, just as you have in Fahati from Fahati. No. Anyway, but that's not your point. Your point is that the Artacha Brahmani is a quotation.
Yeah. So it raises a question for me is that all we have are the Gathas, but he lived in an environment where obviously there were debates going back and forth and all sorts of inherited um, poetic.
Okay, with that Artacha Brahmani, that could be like sort of legalistic phrase, therefore it could be kind of quotative. But I think what you're suggesting here, it's it's a bigger deal. And I was smiling before because uh, Caleb, I think we went through all kinds of possibilities of what may have been in the background of this in texts we don't know about. No.
Yes, yes, we did.
And well, if such texts existed, we don't know about them. I mean, yeah, uh, there may have been a story there, uh, but maybe there was a little more, but unfortunately, we don't have it. When we refer to Gershevich, of course, uh, we're using an idea of his that this somehow was Yima's plea, that he just was meaning to gratify our people, and we'll have to wonder or worry about why our people, but one can answer that. Let's say, our subjects, or kind of royal we, or I don't know, but Gershevich's original assumption was that uh, Yima gave people portions of the bovine for eating. So the Huaremno has to do with eating, and the Baga is portions, and Gaush somehow refers to a bovine cow, if you will. And he calls this article Yima's Beef Plea. So you could find that article under that title. It was in some volume dedicated to Pagliaro, as I recall. But I don't think there's any beef going on here. I think there's a plea, but I don't think there's any beef. So what I do, and I guess you also do, Bill, is you're taking the plea idea, the quotation idea from Gershevich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to iterate that with a god, by means of a god, Baga, it was only fairly recently that I came up with the idea that it's an instrumental in its most literal sense, by means of, and not as a god or anything like that. So he didn't swear as a god, but uh, he swore that, in effect, that he only intended to gratify his subject mortals by means of a god who is himself, by giving him a god, by giving them a god. So that's what I make of Baga. That is instrumental of the word Baga, which is the ordinary word for God in Old Persian and which occurs for a divinity such as the moon a couple of times, Bara with Gam, of course, for divinity. And you know, Baga, of course, furnishes the word for God, for a God in Sogdian Var and Bactrian Var and Parthian Bag, Old Persian, well, Bay from Baga. So that's the way I take this sentence. It's tricky, and the quotation part is a little hard to put into English, but I think Yima went astray, swearing, only wishing to gratify our mortals with a god, as though they wanted a god, and he presented himself as such. And of course, the god business is goes back to the idea that well, you have to reconstruct an Indo-Iranian divinity, Yama. Moreover, there was a cult of a Yamsh, written Yamsho, in Bactria. I mean, Yama sits on a coin as a divinity, Yamsha, I should say. Where are the shas? If it's the word for king, like Shah, or I'm not sure what the Shah business of Yamsha is, but it's definitely Yama, who is a divinity in Bactria. And there's some evidence for such a divinity in Sogdiana too. So,
Isn't there an epithet of Yama Kshaita? I
Yes.
mean,
oh, in Avestan.
yeah, in Avestan,
Yeah.
Kshaita.
And
Is
that's
that
where you
And
get
it
the
has
word
been
for son,
suggested to be
Jamshid.
Shah. Huh?
Well, Jamshid is
yeah.
Yes,
the outcome of it.
Jamshid. Then the question is Shah and Yamsha somehow a contraction of Shaita.
Friends, I'm going to have to say goodbye
Yeah.
for
Okay,
next week.
I think we've reached a nice point.
I have to go too. I just wanted to say that Yama is never called a god in the Rig Veda. He's always a Raja, but never Deva.
Oh,
So
Yeah, isn't he like the colonizer of the world, of the underworld? The
yeah,
first, yeah,
yes, he's the first mortal to go to the Pitars. Yeah.
right.
Okay. Thanks, Marty.
there's
Thanks,
a
everybody.
compound next time in the kafir business, Yimre.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's Raja again.
Right. Right.
Not a god. Okay, good. Good point to be taken up next time.
Good
Lots of
session. Thank you.
Oh,
All
bye-bye.
right.
Peace.